Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NXT Takeover Reaction Special. I am indeed your host with the most, Nate the effing great, the effing savior of all podcasting, representing Elite Ringside Network. And guys, oh boy, was this just an amazing, amazing show. I wouldn't say it was perfect. There are a lot of shows that were definitely a lot better than this one, but there were quite a few matches on here that just really blew your mind and made you think, oh, wow, that just really, really drives it home. So let's just get right into it, not even go into boil anything too crazy. We're going to kick off with the first show matchup, which was Eric Young versus the Sanity, of course, at ringside, but no Nikki Cross because she was getting ready for her Fatal 4-Way matchup later on that night. Really good chemistry between Eric Young and Ty Dillinger. I thought that, Eric Young had a lot of good spots. He was definitely pulling the Ric Flair card out of him, where he was doing a lot of missed spots, or he did like the face first bump. He did the whole flip over the ropes and just landed on his feet to climb to the top ropes for a miss. Sanity got involved for about a little bit of the matchup. It wasn't like too major, in all honesty. The ending was actually just amazing. The tiebreaker by Ty Dillinger going for the 1, 2, just about to be 3, but Dawkins on the bottom rope. Then we saw Ty Dillinger hit a kind of suicide-like dive. We see Eric Young try to get the advantage, go for another. Ty Dillinger goes for another tiebreaker, but hits a baseball slide, knocking out both members of Sanity. Goes for the skin the cat on Eric Young, but Eric Young counters with his wheel finisher for the 1, 2, 3. A little surprise finish, but in all honesty, it was still a really good matchup between the two of them. Like I said, great chemistry between them, and this is probably going to lead to Ty Dillinger being called up to the main roster and possibly debuting at tomorrow night's Royal Rumble event. Could he be at number 10? Probably not. Will he be probably at number 9 or 11? I could see that definitely happening. I don't see him going at the number 10, but I know people are just going to be whining and complaining, oh, well, Ty Dillinger should have been at number 10. He should have been this number. He should have. Just live with it, okay? He's going to debut. You know it's going to happen. Just accept it. You can't always get what you want. The next matchup was Andrade Cien Almas taking on Roderick Strong in, again, another good matchup. There was some basic mat wrestling styles to start off, which I actually said to my friend Joshua Yeager from Pro Wrestling Off Topic. We were watching the show, and I said to him, it's one of the first few times I've seen actual mat wrestling during a professional wrestling matchup. Probably the first time I've seen something like that in WWE since probably Michaels and Kurt Angle back in like 2005, I want to say. I mean, if it's that long that I can remember the last time it was, then you know something's a little bit off. Now, some people might say, well, American Alpha does that. Well, every now and then they do, yeah, but it's not like they do it for as long as Andrade and as Roderick Strong did. They did it for about maybe 2-3 minutes. Andrade worked on the arm immensely during this matchup, but it was really good. It did help his character quite a bit. He even locked in this, I think it's the Rings of Saturn submission maneuver. It was a very grueling armbar submission move. It just looked very good. It looks like we were going to see Andrade hit the DDT on Roderick Strong, but Roderick Strong got his face first facebuster, something like that, where he lifts him up and just throws him to the ground, hits his boot, and pins him 1, 2, 3. Kind of what you would probably expect from Roderick Strong, being great as he is. Although I was expecting Andrade Cien Almas to get the victory because he's been on a bit of a losing streak since the NXT Takeover Brooklyn, where he lost to Bobby Roode. So it was kind of rough to see that, and I'm hoping they finally get him either back on track, having him win, or they're just going to have to let him go. Maybe he'll put on the mask again, and he'll work with Lucha Underground or something like that. I think that would probably benefit him more, because right now, they're just not doing anything with him. That's the problem. When you don't know what to do with something, don't just keep them dangling there by a thread. You either, give them a stronger string so that they can, hold on longer, or you just let them go. So I'm hoping that they do something with Andrade very soon. Next matchup was the tag team titles, in which we saw the champions, #DIY, taking on the Authors of very, very, very... There's always going to be a speed bump in the road of some of these NXT TakeOver matchups and some of these NXT TakeOver events. This matchup felt like it was watching CM Punk versus Ryback all over again, where basically it was just like, these guys, they're definitely not ready, but you can basically carry them. So basically that's how it felt like. The Authors of, which is fine, but you need to definitely change your moves up quite a bit. Maybe throw a couple of technical moves or something like that. Just really make things more interesting. But DIY, they definitely were good. They definitely made up for that matchup. Thought that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, they are just amazing competitors, really good in the ring. This matchup just was so subpar compared to the championship matchups that they had with the Revival, and the ending was very disappointing. There was a spot where they had the dual submission maneuvers in again. One of the Authors of Pain Gargano up and hit a slam on Tommaso Ciampa. I thought that was cool. They hit a DWI drinking while investing. The neck breaker I always love seeing. I thought that was cool. That was the only interesting thing I saw Authors of Pain doing. They did their little sandwich, and then they hit their Russian leg sweep into the clothesline. 1, 2, 3. The Authors of Pain. And Josh looked at me, and I just had this face of total utter disbelief. And he says to me, "You look very much like you did not enjoy that ending very well." And what was the thing? This felt like it was... This is the thing. It felt like it just felt like a Randy Orton, and I just think my sound is acting up for some reason. Here we go. I think I got it now. All right. It felt like the Randy Orton effect, where they had something to work with, but then what happened was they just threw it under the bus. Like it was nothing. They just decided, okay, we're going to give you the titles, but you're going to lose it in like the first big event. For what reason, I don't know. They want to make Authors of Pain look dominant. Great. Okay, did they have to do it at the expense of DIY, who just came off of Tag Team Rivalry of the Year? No, they didn't need to do that. But I guess they needed more people on 205 Live, so great. They're going to go through their rematch, and the Authors of Pain are going to win. And we're going to see Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano on one of the most unentertaining and uninteresting shows in all of wrestling and entertainment. 205 Live is not working. My gosh, this is just sad. Oh, and then we move on to the Fatal 4-Way Women's Championship matchup. Another matchup I was very disappointed. Thought they were finally going to do something more. I thought that they were going to say, hey, we are going to give Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and Nikki Cross more time to shine. But in the end, it was just basically a 3-on-1 handicap match, and Asuka came out victorious. Although there were a couple good spots. One spot being there was the Hangman's suplex neckbreaker that Nikki Cross did to Asuka on the outside. That was awesome. The double suplex that Billie and Peyton Royce did to Nikki Cross off the announcer's table. That was awesome. The was worse shit. Oh my god. basically, Asuka throws a couple kicks and then does a Tajiri kick for the 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. Why? Why do you hate us? Good Lord. So they're building up the story between Nikki Cross and Asuka, obviously. Cool. So you only had them interact for about 30 seconds. And then you had nothing. Great. That just... But I mean, let's focus on another positive. I mean, Seth Rollins came out. He called out Triple H. Basically said that, hey, Triple H, you cost me everything. You're a bitch. And Triple H comes out. And what happens? He calls security. He says, no, I'm not going to wrestle you tonight. I'm going to have my bodyguards, my boyfriends come out and save me. About 10 security guys it took to take Seth Rollins out of the ring and out of the arena. But then we go on to what was just amazing. The battle of the entrances and the battle of the best of New Japan of TNA wrestling. And Zach, if you're listening to this, TNA is not dead to me. As long as AJ Styles, as long as Abyss, as long as Bobby Roode are still around and they're still breathing, TNA is still alive. Anybody else that is a TNA doubter. Glad I got that off my chest. Okay. So, first of all, the entrances. With 4 women on each side. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. I loved the fact that his robe matched the dresses that the women had. I thought it was awesome. It was great. And then we go to Shinsuke Nakamura's. You know that lighting effect that he has where the lights just kind of flicker and so basically it was that he was on a freaking trolley basically. The lights were flickering and he was basically doing his thing while being drove to the ring. It was awesome. The match itself was great because Josh and I both agreed. The storytelling was amazing. Just how they were just taunting each other just started off. And then they showed each other their wrestling moves. It was great. I loved it. Bobby Roode knows how to tell a story. That's why he needs to be on the main roster. He's one of those guys who can step into the ring and not only tell a story outside the ring, but also in it as well. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Everything about this matchup was great. There were a couple of very scary spots, though. Nakamura took a hellacious bump from the top turnbuckle to the outside of the ring. And it looked like his arms were just messed up. And I thought, oh gosh, that just did not look good. Then he did a Kinshasa from the second rope on the outside to Bobby Roode. And his knee basically looked like it just got demolished. And then he would hit the Kinshasa on the inside. Bobby Roode would see that Nakamura was basically hurt. It was something where it's like, oh wow, he really looked like he got just where like his knee just basically looked like it was just going to just fall off. It was a very interesting storyline. A lot of people are not liking it too much. I know that AJ has been very vocal